All right, up in the Berlin Taborton mountain range here, bunch of camps. We've done quite a bit of work up here in the past when I was a younger man with my father. So actually when I was probably 18 in high school, you know, 17, 18, we redid this chimney. So it's nice to come back. My father did all these cabins up in this area. It's all like summer homes for people in the city. All right, so what we have here is this Fieldstone. This is real stone, and it's falling apart in some spots. This is all loose. You can see if I hit this, it vibrates and wants to come down. Like these are, see it coming down now. These are all loose. There's fallen rocks and there's cracks here. You know, the frost up here pushing. And the wall ties in the back probably rotted out. Up above seems good. We're gonna put a new wash on the cap up there, and then we're gonna seal the whole thing. But we're gonna take actually this section down and rebuild it. I don't talk much about my father, but he was a true stonemason. That's what he did. His whole house, everything is pure rock that we picked for years and years and years out of the fields. And so that's my trade, was, you know, the stonemason. That's what I was taught. And then I got into excavation. So yeah, stay tuned, and we will rebuild her. All right, up on the roof, the top definitely needs a new wash on it. So basically this is the cap that we poured years ago, and then the wash actually went to here, but erosion and freeze thaw cycles, it comes apart. It gets real cold up here. So yeah, we'll put a new one of those on today. She should have a cap on this. That's not helping it right there, letting all that water go down in there. I'm gonna request 2 new chimney caps. All right, got the scaffold set. Little pro tip is when you're putting cross braces on like these, always put your bottoms in first before your tops, because if you put your tops in first, and these got to be dead lined up, you won't get them in. At least if your bottoms in here, you could adjust this back and forth by rocking it to get that hole to line up. You can still do it in the bottom, but it's 10 times harder. So just, and then the more sections you got on, the harder it is too, and the weight. So always clip your bottom first before your top. Yeah, that lifts up, you get them out like that. And that was just basically what we're putting on new. We're gonna go from here to here. All right guys, it's raining out now, of course, and I don't want to mix that top up there, so we're just gonna start taking the stones down and get everything prepped for tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day, so we're just gonna disassemble this from the top where it starts, where all the damage is, and you'll see how it comes down. So everything's so loose. These rocks are big, and this is just all dead mortar that's just coming out. So back in the day, they didn't use blocks like you would today. This is actually inside the chimney right here. They just did 2 layers of rock. Smaller rock in the inside, looks like, and then did the veneer. So it's a double layer of rock, where if you did a fireplace today, you'd come up with block with wall ties, and that's probably why it's failing too. But I mean, obviously this is 100 years old. But yeah, so it's gonna be a little more tricky. If it was block, it would have been easier, but it is what it is. We will get it down. Might have been Lee. I don't think Lee was up here. As you see, hollow-y. So we'll have to fill all that in there. It's just dead. Look, it's coming out on its own. It's just dead mortar. You know, just water. Look at this, just coming right out. This whole chimney's just, all that's coming. So this is all going to be hollow. And we'll see what happens here. We will have to get it around and then reassess what's going on. All right, guys, this theoretically, in the scheme of things, there's 2 ways to do things when you're looking at a job like this, and everything comes down to budget. And so we're here to rebuild this. There's so much dead mortar coming out of this. I mean, this whole thing's hollow in here, in this section. It starts to tighten up over in here, but we can't take down this section because then this section could all come down. Pretty sketchy. We've just been taking all this out. It's super hollow, super shaky everywhere up in. So we got some pins, some steel pins. We're just gonna right now bridge it so we can get this section all in here tight again. And because I mean the joints and all that stuff is in good shape. It's just that it's failing from behind it. So if we could get up in here, pump cement all in there, and then we'll have some pins going, bridging from here, and then pound one in here, set it on this rock here, then we'll rebuild. All right, I got some pins in here acting as wall ties. Rebar will fill these holes in, and then once we bridge, then rocks will come on, and that will pin that, and that will also hold this all. Gonna try to get some mud in there, and then we could also, after we get this secure, drill a hole in the front and throw some pins in, and then patch that pin. As soon as there's some daylight down in there, everything's just rolling out, but we'll fill it back up. All right, just pin this all in. with some cement. Fill them holes right in, and that will solid this up. We'll jiggle these all in, and they'll get hard by tomorrow. That will act as a major wall tie. So basically, we're gonna take the pump sprayer. We're gonna spray all in here, moisten this whole back of the chimney, moisten this. See, we got down to the hard stuff. This is hard. All the powder is off. So we're gonna spray it all, and then the new cement that we're gonna throw in here will bond, and it will bond well. Like I said, we may, after we get that all slushed in by tomorrow, be able to take a plug out and put a pin in there. But we'll see how that solids it up. Again, this is a repair, not a full rebuild. If we were going to take it down, you know, we don't want to take down this section right here, because then this, you see how powdery it is. A lot of this is from the freeze thaw right on these angles, right where, if this chimney was, you know, sealed every year, it would definitely have been 100% better, because up there it's good. So basically the moisture hits this where it's not covered from the roof, it goes in, it freezes, it thaws, it freezes, thaws every year. It kills the mortar, it turns it to sand powder, as you've seen. This will allow it to bond. All right, so we got some pins going down in. As you can see, right here is a pin, and it goes down out to him, and he put another one into me. We slushed this all up, and you can see the mud starting to come out here. So basically, we're pinning this rock. You slurry this stuff, plaster the rocks right up on both sides, and then when you fill in, once this is plastered, you fill in here, it's gonna pin that rock. And then we'll work our way, pin this whole thing, and then, you know, you take little rocks and you build them in, like so, to strengthen them up. And you bridge rocks, you know, you bridge them across, you make them so they pin, instead of stacking them like this. Like this was a weak point of the fireplace. On a jamb, you want to go one way, this one long way over here, so it ties in. How that ties in, basically, this is you never want to go more than too high ever. We don't go too high ever. You want to go every other one, but even in the middle of a wall, you don't want to stack joints like this. So this was a weak point, but again, these pins will be working very well. And then I will shoot mud all the way into the back where we can, where it all come out. I'll bring a light tomorrow so you can see in there. I actually got a light on my phone, hang on. And then I have a, yeah, so let me try to get that. It's about, you know, a foot or so in hollow. Up here it's not so bad. It was just right here and right there, and we'll get that all slushed in full, no problem. I have a drill that will, with a pipe, with a hose on it, it will put it in there like nothing. We'll make a nice wet slurry, and you can see how we're packing all this in, and it will bond right to that. And with these rocks, we'll grab this, that, we'll put another pipe pin in here, a pin in there, like we did there. All right, if you never use one of these mortar guns, they are the ticket, especially if you're just doing brick pointing up or any culture stone, anything like that. You just slurry it in. I just made this tube on the end of it. It has a ton of different fittings and sizes of shapes, 45, circles, ovals. Any drill will go in it. It works really well. We got more pins in here, several. I mean, I got 10, 15 pins in this thing all the way, and it will make a difference. right, guys, let me get you an update before we jet. It's about noon. We got everything pinned. It's covered in plastic because it's starting to rain and we're gonna get a pretty good storm. So this whole back is slushed right in, pinned. We used the drill and then we took the hammer or the trowels and flung it all in. So we're slushed in, and I put pins in into that all different directions. And then we rebuilt the bottom here and pinned this block, and we'll see what it is tomorrow. See if it's hollow and strengthened up. Like I said, if it was block interior, we could have took down a little bit more and then had a different plan of attack, but we didn't know until we took it apart, and there was no way to do that the way it is with the you can't drill into it and put wall ties as if it was block. I'd be able to tap con in. And if we took this section the way this whole piece was, that would have went, and then you worry about this. So this is the best way to do it for now, and I really believe it's gonna hold up for a lot more years. All right, back here the next day, and let's see what we did. I just pulled the plastic down, see how things cured up. Oh yeah, nice and hard. All these pins, look how hard these got. You know, everything's in there nice and hard. So basically this was all vibrating and hollow, and it's right solid. So that worked. We slushed this all the way in back where all that cement was rolling out. We put pins, we put rebar going back in, and that will hold everything, and it locks in on these shelves. And we punched in through here. Like I said, there's no block like you would have on a traditional new fireplace. So we couldn't put wall ties in it, and so we had to make our own. And you know, it was hollowed out all the way back to about let me move this stuff. Hang on to her. Right about here on this crack. So this was hollow, but all these joints and rocks were super tight, but if you went like this, you could feel it shake. So if we took this down, we were afraid this part that's good would, you know, the weight, you just don't do that. So this was the most efficient way to stabilize this. And then now that's all solid, and we'll start rebuilding everything back in. We'll take these joints out, and you see how we rebuilt all this in here. Everything's tight now. These were just, you could shake this whole thing yesterday. Now it's just right solid. We'll take those out, repoint all that, and rebuild this back in. And with all these reinforcements, it's gonna definitely hold better, and we'll tie it in better than it was. But a lot is the water went in, freeze thaw here in this area, because this is where it slopes out, where it has the taper on the chimney. As you see, it's wider at the bottom, and then it tapers up, so the water hits in there, soaks in, and that will be all sealed. We'll seal it when we're done, so it acts as rain X. And you can see they're starting to get some cracking in here, but it's solid, so nothing's shaking yet. So we'll be able to repair this. We'll take these joints out, repair this, and then when we seal it, it should be good. Yeah, so it's good to do this, come back and work where me and my father worked. So definitely good memories on this. All right, we'll get to work. All right, so for the cap wash that we're resurfacing the top, I'll show you how I got 3 different cements going to make a bulletproof mix. I got sand topping mix. I use a half a bag of that, a half a quick wall, and a half a type S. The type S mortar's got, it's for mortar, it's gonna give me stickiness, so it's workable. This right here has fiber in it, and it's Portland, and it's really strong, and that will act like the fiber cement we use in garage floors. And you can see little bits of fiber all in there. And then the sand topping mix is all Portland, and it's a real strong mix. So mix all 3 together, mix them dry first like this, and then add your water, and you see all that fiber in there. So mix them all dry together so you get them all, them parts all equal. Mix it with water, and that's a strong mix. You could use that, and we'll do the same thing for when we point up the outside of the chimney. But yeah, just a little pro tip. That's what we like to use anyways. I mean, obviously different opinions everywhere, but I seem to figure out that this holds up the longest. If you're gonna parge a side of a house, like you parge a foundation on wire lath, we always use the, right here, this bag right there, the Quick Wall. Quickcrete makes a good mix. So this is called Quick Wall, and it works well. Okay, just reset these on the other flue. We'll fill in around here, jiggle them up, get them nice and solid, make sure they're all true again. You know, these are just loose right now, so these were just extensions. We'll get them all true, get the cement around them, and then jiggle them. Cement will go in under and pin them. We just want to make sure they're pretty true, so these caps, the new caps we put on, will fit. Get the cement all under them. We'll pin them. Make sure it squeezes out like that. And we're gonna get this all around, then smooth the new top on. All right, so after you get it all up on there with your trowel, get it all up there, place it. You take a finisher, something with a straight edge, and start running it back and forth to get it true. So it all touches, goes from 2 inches to 0 out at the edge. And that's where the fiber cement will also help. We'll hold that 0 edge. Because obviously this, in a perfect world, this cap, if it didn't have to be extended, these flues, when they poured this cap, it would have been poured already all in one with the pitch in it, but this was an aftermath. So we had to modify it. And just like this, get all your 45s like that on each 45. Then you know you got it. Then take this and screed down your 45s. And this is a process, just like finishing flat work on a floor. It takes time. Each time gets better and better and harder. But make sure all those pitches are right. Take your 45 this way. See how it's not hitting there? Right where my thumb is. So you add a little cement there. And then keep working her until you get her. Take about an hour. You know, and the other thing is, before you put cement on this cap, spray it down with water or sponge. You know, mist it with a brush. Just get moisture in this. Now, there was dew here this morning because it's cold, so this was already wet and it rained yesterday. But if it was 90 degrees and it was hot, this is a huge sponge, this cement. And what happens is, the minute you put a little bit on there, especially where it's thin, will dry out instantly and it will start powdering on you. It won't, and then it won't cure right. It will not last long at all. All right, so we're still getting this all open. And this is all solid. Like I said, I wasn't happy with the center. Some of the slurry didn't get to the center, which would have been fine. The 2 ends are good, but because it's me, and I like to do things the right way. We're gonna I pop the rock out here and I pop that center rock out there. We're gonna try to get all this dead material to follow on down like that, like an avalanche. Just keep getting it out, and then I'll connect this, throw a rod in there, fill that with slurry, then that will take care of this hollow cavity, and that's right where this fracture joint was. So we're solid here. This has been good. It was just right here, and we got the slurry right to here. I could reach in there and feel it. It was right about to here. So pretty confident. This is all, you can hear the difference in sound. That's solid, that's hollow. All right, we're getting her. She's coming out at the bottom where he is, and she's going down there. So that's all empty now. We'll get back in here, fill it all up, put a reinforcement rod in there, and that should make it solid again. We're gonna lay a different rock in there, one that bridges across instead of a little round one, to plug up our hole so the slurry don't come out. I'm gonna slurry that in. And that should take care of the whole center. And then we should be good on there. Though that was the only part that was hollow right there. All right, so 90s are used for other reasons too. Slushing it in, make it nice and wet. It goes right in, and then we'll slush it in. I got rebar all in here. We put a plug here until we see the cement. There's a piece of steel in there. Once we see that cement go down in, then we'll know we're hit the bottom. I put a ton of steel into all this too. There she is. She's coming in. Keep jiggling her until she comes out. All right, we're getting her patch back in and putting these rocks. That's all slushed in. Put 2 rocks in there. That was 1 rock in there before, which was a slipper. Like, this was the rock that come out. So if this is at an angle, the pressure comes down, and they're called slippers when you're into a V. You really want to stay away from that when you're laying originally. So it's always nice to come back and look at structures that fail and why they fail, and you learn from each time. But you know, typically this joint right here goes all the way up, and you see at that angle where it cracked. So you know, you want to take rocks and cross those joints just like you would do brickwork or blockwork. It's, you know, that's your bond. So once you, instead of stacking all these rocks, like you see how this one bridges and it breaks that joint so that it can't crack here. It has to go around, and that makes it stronger. So when you have vertical joints like this that tend to crack there, that's a weak point in the wall. So when you're building them, you want to make sure you have plenty of rocks that bridge, and don't build slippers where there's V's. Anytime you build a V is where pressure wants to push down, and it fails. All right, so when the joints are ready to be brushed, to take a paintbrush or mason's brush, we got both, and brush them off, clean the rocks up, take the end, do this, make sure it matches, use your finger, do whatever you got to do to make it look good, and then it will match right in. So we're about to hit lunch up early because I gotta let this set up before we build this wall. So basically, it was raining, otherwise I would have done this yesterday. This rock that we're laying off of is called a slipper. See that angle here? That's how that angle is under here. So we wouldn't be able to lay a rock on here. You balance it, then you put all this weight on it, then the next thing you know, 20 minutes later, this one blows out because it slipped. It's called a slipper. So we're building, I pinned a rock in here, wedged it into here, put wall ties all in there, and then flatten this mud out. That will get hard by the time we get back, and that will give me a stone shelf to lay a nice rock on there and then start up fresh. Never want to lay on a slipper. Oh, we literally just went in the woods to grab some rocks, because with these pins in here, obviously the rocks can't, and we're going to build it a little different than what was there originally. Make the joints a little bit better. I don't want to crack. All right, she's starting to grow. Just putting more reinforcements in here into the inside. I got a little hole here. You don't want to bang too hard because, you know, these are just the real stones and they're heavy and they will fall. So you just want to make sure you always have flat spots to land on. Use shims like this to shim it until it sticks, and then when we go to join up, that shim pops out. And always make yourself flat landings. It'll make your life a lot easier. All right, just use as many wall ties as you can. And always back your mud, you know what I mean? Like here, you just don't put mud here. Back it in the back, pack it, pack it, pack it. Use it, butter it, slicker it, you know, like this. And just slap it and make sure you butter every rock that you can so everything sticks. We got Logger Wade down there running a dull chainsaw. It's been going on for hours. When you don't have rocks, you make rocks. Just hit them down.
That's a biggie. She's hard.
There you go. Now we got about 8 of them. We're starting to taper on the chimney where it starts to taper back, so it's going to want to put pressure to blow this part out, and that's why I want to get a full depth flat one. I made a shelf here. If we get it back into here, then I can build off of that flat one, and it should be good. Then we'll catch our ties right here, and it should hold. Why it's wet, you know. Once it's dry, it will hold, obviously. But now Miko's an old stone maker. Look at how this flat shelf, like I wanted, got the taper right there. It's gonna go in full depth, match the taper right here, and full depth, huh? Look at that, Johnny Depp. That is sweet. Sweet. And it's already gonna continue on up from there.
I was calling number 2 on the Chinese station. Oh, now I can't sing.
Definitely not ideal scaffold situation. I'm down here leaning out, but right here is where we're on that taper where you see how it's plumb coming up and then it tapers back on both sides. So we're finishing this taper. You follow the siding where it was, make it all smooth here, and we got another tie to kit there. We hit all those ties. Just keep working it. It's an art. So that one worked. Got that in at the angle. One less stone to go. Tuck point everything, let it dry, strike out, brush up, clean up. All right, you know I gotta give it to you. Been looking for this rock the whole job. And why? Well, it's the last rock. All right, so we'll tuck all this up, get her all full, let her dry, and then strike her out, brush her up, all that done. And this is, you know, this is a good repair for sure. It's definitely strong. There's no hollow spots like there was, and definitely confident it's gonna last a lot of years before it needs a full rebuild. You know, that's obviously the goal on anybody's budget, is not to take this whole thing down and rebuild it. So we had to diagnose it by taking it apart first and get a plan of attack. There was really no plan of attack from the beginning because we didn't know how it was built internally. If it was a block structure, it would have been a different plan of attack. We would have took down, you could take down more because it would have had wall ties in it, but there was no ties. And yeah, so we'll finish striking all these. So another thing my pop used to say is, as long as you have one of these in a trade, you can make a living anywhere in the world. Right here, that's all you need. And he was right. We got the top all sanded down and polished off. I'll give you a quick look at that in a second. And we'll take the scaffold down, clean up, and give you a review after we are finished. So when you're striking off, it's still a little too wet, but you just make sure everything's packed and full with the slicker right to the edge of the rock like this. And then on the final hit, you want to just scrape away the rock so it leaves a little bit of reveal like this. Scrape each side of the rock. Take this, smooth it all out. Like I said, it's a little bit wet, and then the wetter it is, it will make more of a mess. So you kind of want to let it dry up, because then it just falls out. Like this was starting to dry up down here, so we did that. But yeah. All right, just strike it off, hit it with the paintbrush. Now hit it with the big brush. Clean the rocks. Wipe the siding down, wipe the windowsill down. And we're good to go on this, huh? It is nice. Stand back, get a full view. Nice and nice. Get over here, see the front all done. Boom, boom, boom. You see our taper going up. Matches this taper going up. We replaced some rocks up there that were loose and tuck pointed along the house up in there. Let's go check out the rooftop. All right, up on the rooftop. Click, click, click. And here's the new top. Nice, nice. All the water should run off that. We're gonna get 2 new chimney toppers. Get a better style than this. I imagine that other one had one on there and it blew off. They had a shim piece of wood right there and here. We'll get 2 new ones, and that should be good on that. Now we're just gonna cure and seal the whole chimney. All right, just sealing it with some cure and seal, and she's blending good. And all the dark mortar joints that we did repair and the place repair will all match over time once it dries out. But yeah, she's looking good, real good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you got something out of it. If not, sorry. But yeah, today's Friday, so the weekend's here. Might tinker around with something in the yard. If not, we'll catch you Monday on the blue foam project. We got to go over there and dig a couple sauna tubes for the front porch. He needs those, and then we got to install the septic there and whatnot too. So we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks.